Welcome to update 5 of my Pan That Palette series. So in this series, I'm trying to pan the Pat McGrath Mothership I palette. It's called Subliminal, and I've had really a lot of fun with it, so let's get into the update. First, before I show you the main event, I'll show you the companion palettes as usual. So this shade is just a random single in my collection. I'm trying to use it up as a brow highlight shade, and the pan is expanded each time just by a little bit, but I'm just steadily working on it. It's been repressed one time already, but it's still going strong, and it's taken me almost a year, and I still haven't finished it yet, obviously, but it is what it is. Now, you guys, if you have been around, you know I've been trying to finish 2 shades in here since the dawn of time in my Too Faced Just Peachy Mattes. And drum roll, ta-da! I finally hit pan. This pan has been 2 years coming, and it's a nice big old pan. I am so excited about it. I think that means this one is not much longer, hopefully, to hit pan as well, but I am so excited. I'm more excited about hitting this pan maybe than the one in my Pat McGrath from last update, if you can believe it, because this thing I've used it for 2 months almost daily, or whenever I use my makeup, and it's not budged. So happy I hit pan on that one. And now, ta-da, here is my new update on the palette, as I put it the wrong way. Okay, so I have expanded the pan that I hit on last time, but unfortunately there are no new pans. There's some nice dips, I think. Tell me if you agree with me or not, but there's no pan. And this shade in particular, it looks like there's a really big dip, but it's actually not. It's just the pigment that's been moved around by my finger when I apply it. So it looks like it's a giant pan, but it's actually quite a shallow pan there. Just so you know, don't get too excited like I did. But these are some nice dips, and I'm happy with that. So let me talk you through the shades. This shimmer shade here, I'll go over the progress photos and the names when I roll into a B-roll, and then you'll be able to see the differences from the last 2 updates, as well as the names of the shades. So right now I'm just going to go quickly through my feelings about the entire palette. So this shimmer, this black, this dark brown, and this or dark taupe and light taupe, these 4 shades I have all used now past my initial stretch goal of 60 uses. The shimmer shade I've used exactly 60 times since the beginning of ever touching this brand new palette. This dark taupe I've used a total of 81 times since the beginning. Light taupe I've used a total of 86 times. And yes, actually that's it. And the dark black I've used a total of 78 times. So all of these are now past their 60 usage goal. These rest of these 6 shades, I've only reached my first initial goal of 30 uses on 2 of them. This taupe shimmer, and as you can see, that's why there is a nice dip, and then this purple shimmer as well. So these 2 have over 30 uses. This one has 35, and this one has 30 since the beginning of the palette use. So now I only 1, 2, 3, 4 these, oh sorry, 1, 2, 3 these and this one. So 4 shades left where they're under 30 usage. So the gold has only been used 18 times, and I talked about this before about how I don't love it. I hated it, in fact, on my complexion especially, because it just wasn't flattering. And thank you so much to all my friends and viewers. Everyone chipped in with ideas, and every single one of them was amazing. So I'm actually, this is going to be one of my goals going forward for next month, because the weather is warming up too. I'm going to be using this gold a lot, and I'm going to show you how, I guess I will talk you through how. One suggestion was to use it on my lower lash line, and that really worked. Another way is I actually saw my friend Tyra on Instagram using it, and she just used it as a wash of color using a fluffy brush. And I never thought that, because Pat McGrath colors are so intense. I'm so used to just putting shimmers on with my finger, which makes the shade super intense, and it's a very, very saturated look. Like, look how beautiful one gentle swipe of that is. This may look very beautiful on somebody else, but being this saturated on my eyelid just was not working. So but I never considered putting it on, applying it in a more glimmery way. So if I buff it on with a fluffy brush, it actually looks ethereal and not so yellow gold and in your face. So I've gone from hating this shade to loving it, and I just haven't had a chance to use the palette so many times, because I discovered it late in the month of that usage. So I'm really happy to report that I will continue to use this. If I hadn't found a way to use it nicely, I would have just given up on it. So definitely, I'm not one for hate panning, and I wouldn't have hate panned this, but I'm just glad that I found ways of not hate panning it and love panning it. So I'm going to love pan this, hopefully, going forward. This blue, I use it as a liner, so I will keep using it. I love this shade. It's just a little bit glittery, so that's why I don't use it a lot. And then this purple satin, I also really love it, but these two have very similar formulas and looks. I prefer the darker one always, just because I have hooded eyes, and I prefer darker colors to make the hood recede a little bit. So that's why I prefer this over this, but this is a very pretty look as well. Also, I forgot again at the introduction to mention this. The caterpillars in the room, I've already said this in a few videos, but I know some people only watch my Pan That palette, so I need to say it here. I'm sorry if you've heard this already, but I just got my brows done. This is day 2 of microblading. I know they look so bad, and so please ignore them. Please don't look at them. If they bother you, I am so sorry. They bother me. It's not what they're gonna look in the final stages. They're still healing. The technician told me, and I'm also due for I will be due for a touch-up where we could add strokes and change the shape a little bit. And I certainly have ideas, because I don't love how they are. They are pretty good, but not how I want them to be permanently. So you are invited on this brow journey with me as well through my videos. You'll see them changing. So just to know, I know they look crazy, so just ignore my brows. Let's focus on the palette. Okay. So I'm going to roll the B-roll now of all the footage of how the shadows have changed throughout my use of them. This first shade is called Skin Show Nude, and here I used it a total of 10 times in January, and then in the next 5 months I used it a total of 36 times. And finally, in the last month of use, it was used 14 times for a total of 60 times. I have reached my stretch goal for this shade. Next is the shade Depth. It was used for a total of 20 times by the end of January. And then it was used a total of 45 times in the next 5 months of usage. I really like this shade for darkening the crease, but it can be patchy. And finally, it was used for a total of 16 times in the last month, resulting in a total use of 81 times, which is hitting my stretch goal once again for this shade. Next is Ultimate Taupe. I used it for a total of 23 times in the first month. And then I used it a total of 45 times in the subsequent 5 months of usage. As you can see, this is my pride and joy. It's the shade I like the most, and I hit pan in. And I further expanded the pan in the next month after a usage of 17 uses for a total of 85 uses in total for this shade. Next is Pale Gold 002. I used it only 4 times in the first month. I don't love this shade, so I used it a subsequent 8 times in the next 5 months. I really struggled with it, but I have since found great ways to use it. Thank goodness. And lastly, it's been used 6 times since that last update, for a total of 18 uses since the very beginning of the project for this shade. The 5th shade is VR Violet. I used it a total of only 4 times in the first month because it's a little bit dramatic. In the next 5 months, I did use a total of 18 uses for this project. It's got really good wear showing here, and I started to fall in love with this shade. And finally, it was used a total of 8 times for the next month since the last update, for a total of 20 uses in this project. Next is Extreme Black. I used it a total of 18 times in the first month of January, and then in the next 5 months I used it a total of 44 times. As you can see, it did absolutely nothing to the pan. It looks like it was barely disturbed. And finally, I used it a total of 16 times since the last update, for a total of 78 uses in this project. Next is Lilac Dusk, and I used it a total of 4 times since the beginning of January. And this clip shows the next 5 months it was used a total of 22 times, and I started falling in love with the shade once again. Lastly, it was used 8 times since the previous update, making a total of 44 uses in this project. Next is Substance, and it was used a total of 6 times in the first month of use. I really enjoy the taupey undertones of the product. Next, it was then used 22 times in the subsequent 5 months of using it, and I also continue to fall in love with it. And finally, it was used a total of 9 times since the last update, for an entire total of 37 times. Next is the shade called Blitz Blue. It was used for 6 times in the first month, just because it's so vibrant and blue. I was only able to use then 20 times since that update in the next 5 months. And finally, it was used for a total of 8 times since the last update, making a total of 34 uses in this project. Last but not least is this stunning Astral White shade. It was used a total of 3 times only in the first month. Then I used it a total of 10 times since that update in the next 5 months. Finally, it was used a total of 3 times since that update, for a sum total of 16 times in this entire project, and there's a small little dip forming, which I love. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that. I had a few people comment that they did from the last video, so I'll definitely keep doing this going forward. So for my future for this palette, so you guys, the reason why I went over the usage and my usage goals at the very beginning is I'm starting to struggle on what to do once I hit my goal of 30 use of the rest of the shades that I have not hit my goal on yet. So let me know what your thoughts are. I really love this palette. I'm not sick of it. Surprisingly, being only 10 shades, I'm not sick of it. It's cool toned. With the summer coming, I feel like I might want to change, but I'm not sure because I'm not burnt out from panning it. But I feel like the rest of my eyeshadow collection is just screaming at me from the drawers where they are, because I'm doing a no pan left behind. So I'm hoping to, well, I will be touching every pan of eyeshadow that I have in my collection, which is a lot. It's a lot. So because I'm so focused on one palette, I just really feel like I'm neglecting them, even though I'm at least going to be using each shade once in the space of this year and probably half of next year. So what I'm proposing, I think, is that I want to reach my 30 use goal of the rest of the shades, as well as hit pan on another shade. So those are my overall goals going forward. Is I want to use every shade at least 30 times. As you know, I've used a lot of them, much more than that, but I want a minimum 30 use on every single shade. And then I want to hit pan on another shade, whichever shade it may be. There's a few good dips, but by no means are we near a pan yet. But I want to hit a good chunky pan in another shade. And I think then we will call it quits. We'll call it a finale, and I'll move on to another fun palette to hopefully pan as well. So what do you think about that? Feel free to let me know your thoughts. I do this for myself to keep myself accountable. Putting these videos out there is so important to me because it's my hobby. I love to watch them, and by putting it out there, it's such an immense effort and such immense accountability to the rest of the world. And it really helps me achieve my panning goals. Because left to my own devices, I'll probably just keep buying products, keep buying makeup forever and ever. So this year, having put out so many panning videos and going on my no-buy journey has just helped me tremendously. And a key part of that is continuing to film these videos. So I do them first and foremost for myself. But secondly, I make these videos for you, for my viewers, for the people who watch them and like them and comment on them. I love you guys more than you'll ever know. And even one sweet little comment will make my day. So thank you so much for following along with me. I have a playlist. Again, one of my sweet commenters mentioned that it might be helpful to make a playlist. So I made a playlist down below for this series as well as many of my other series, because now I have quite a few videos now on each topic under my belt. So I have a playlist for a lot of the challenges that I'm doing for myself. And I love you. So please let me know your thoughts. I will take it highly under consideration before making any final decisions about this journey. So, you know, any comments, any preferences, I will definitely take into account because I do this for myself and for you. Thanks again. I'll see you soon. Bye.